Alright, what's up everyone? What's up? Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, I go by Zombie. I'm very passionate about spirituality, specifically astrology, and one of my goals with this channel is to just be able to show people how spirituality and self-improvement go hand in hand, right? So if you're interested in any of that, or you just might be looking to become a better version of yourself, then I got you. So hit that subscribe, and without further ado, let's hop right in. Alright, so in this series, I've been going through the 12 signs of the zodiac. The 8th sign is Scorpio. If you were born from October 23rd to November 21st, then you are considered a Scorpio. So Scorpio is ruled by the planet Mars and the planet Pluto, excuse me. In astrology, we just use the term rules to denote the fact that certain signs carry the energy of certain planets, right? And so Mars is considered to be like the planet of aggression. You're kind of like your fight or flight, primal instincts, your natural desires, passions, your sex drive in a sense, most definitely, your lust in a sense. Pluto has a lot to do with death and transformation in like a regeneration sense, like, and not just like physical death, but also like an ego death, kind of emotional death in a sense, to where like Scorpios specifically, they go, most of the time a Scorpio might have a traumatic past, and everyone has traumas, right? But Scorpios, usually those things stick with them, so they have to do kind of like a rebirth process throughout their life a few times. Like, more often than not, Scorpio's been through some shit that they've had to kind of recreate themselves through. So the 8th house is the house ruled by Scorpio. I'm gonna do a separate series on houses, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna run through it briefly. The 8th house, basically, again, is definitely one of those houses of mystery. One of those houses that has a lot to do with the unseen areas of life, like the esoteric, hidden knowledge, occult, side of life. Scorpios are definitely very spiritual, as all the water signs are, but Scorpio is definitely one of the most spiritual signs, due to the fact that that Pluto influence and 8th house influence gives them like a closer, connection naturally to the spiritual world. And also the 8th house is a financial house, much like the 2nd house, but with the 8th house is more so like, I don't want to say OPM, like other people's money, but the 8th house has a lot to do with like loans and joint ventures and property and things of that nature. A lot less, of a personal finance type of deal, like you might see more so with the 2nd house, or with ways that you can really acquire money naturally with your natural gifts and talents, like you might see in the 2nd house. And so the duality of Scorpio, right, is feminine being a water sign. Scorpios are definitely naturally more so on the feminine side. Even a Scorpio man is definitely going to be on the more emotional side, although as Scorpios, that Scorpio nature, he definitely probably would be better at hiding it, but most definitely he's gonna be more on the feminine side and express himself in a more feminine way, whether you like that or not. That's just how it is, and everyone has certain levels of feminine and masculine energy, and there can be a balance there naturally, right? You could be born with the balance there, but as a water sign, Scorpios are definitely on the more so feminine side, feminine demeanor side. So mode and the element. In astrology, there's 3 modes. You got your cardinal, fixed, and your mutable. The element, of course, is 4: earth, air, fire, and water, and Scorpio is a fixed water sign. What that basically means is, again, Scorpios are very emotional. And when you think about them being fixed, from a mindset point of view, they can very much so, ruminate and be obsessive over, the way things make them feel, or how, things have affected them in the past. And because of that, Scorpios can be very guarded. They don't really let people get too close to them most of the time. If they do, they really do trust you. And so, yeah, fixed water, most definitely. Now that's not again. Well, let me go back to that real quick before I move on, because fixed water isn't necessarily always going to be a bad thing. Most of the time, that's a good thing, right? Protecting how you feel, and also even the obsessing over past events thing, because like I said, Scorpios usually have the eighth house has a lot to deal with like trauma. Like if you want to do shadow work, study your eighth house. Study the sign, like the planet you have there, and how you express yourself, or how you react to the trauma, or how you get what I'm saying. So yeah, study your eighth house, shadow work. And back to the water thing and the fixed water thing, excuse me, with Scorpio, it's not really a bad thing, because again, when it comes to that shadow work, which is so important, right? So important. When it comes to that, Scorpios can learn to become like really good at that, dissecting, their flaws, and like I said, reinventing themselves through that. Now, it's not like they're gonna ask you for your help for that. They probably don't want your help with that. They probably don't want you to know, right? But they learn to, kind of work with that and work with themselves and that over life. So at least that's one of the things, Scorpios definitely need to learn, because everyone has to work on themselves, right? And it's okay, right? Scorpios naturally can be kind of insecure, right? Anxiety and fear is like definitely one of the key words / key emotions that come to my mind when I think about Scorpio energy in the eighth house. But with time, they all, like everyone else, they learn to work through these things, and so it can be guarded at first, but it's okay. So, body part, I have said, well, I have the genitals on here, your colon, your rectum, because Scorpio energy, again, with the eighth house, is very, very sexual. Like Scorpios are definitely the most sexual sign of the zodiac. And that's not only because of the Mars influence, but also Pluto, and also the sacral chakra, because Scorpio is well, I don't want to say they're ruled by it, but they definitely probably have more active sacral and solar plexus chakras, than maybe the next person. And that definitely makes them more sexual, because the sacral chakra has a lot to do with your creative energy, which is creative energy and sexual energy is like the same thing, right? And they tend to pull a lot of power from that, as well as the solar plexus. And again, when you get back to the shadow work concept, that sacral chakra, if left imbalanced, and you don't consciously try to work on it, can lead to feelings of anxiety. Definitely feelings of anxiety and feelings of fear can stem from your sacral chakra, and you kind of have to learn to face your fears in a sense in order to ascend to the next one, which would be your solar plexus, and to work on that and strengthen that. And that's where you build your willpower and your drive, and that's where you see the determination in Scorpios, right, once they start growing. So moving on to the colors, the main color, pretty much not the only color, but the main standout color for Scorpio is definitely black. Black throughout history has always been seen as a very powerful, a symbol of power, very powerful, strong color. Very again, yeah, a symbol of power, symbol of death. Most definitely at funerals, people tend to wear black. This is because of that. And so the crystal and the gemstone associated with Scorpio, I have obsidian. Obsidian is also black, and black gems tend to be really good for like grounding and like absorbing negative energy. And so obsidian is definitely a go-to crystal for Scorpios, because it will help them to alleviate some of that stress. And garnet will do the same thing as well, specifically for Scorpios. So moving on here to the character traits. On the positive side, let me move this. On the positive side, I have ambitious. Again, once Scorpios start that journey of inner work, as we all must do at some point in our life, they will definitely prove to be one of the more ambitious signs. Curiosity is big with Scorpios, because Pluto is kind of seen as like the detective of the zodiac in a sense, and Scorpios in the same sense can be very detective like, very observant, always wanting to get like all the details on a situation, which can be nosy sometimes, quite frankly. But when it comes to learning new information, and staying on top of your game with shit, it's always good to know the particulars in whatever it is you're working with. So it could be a plus as well, is what I'm trying to say. So passionate. I have passionate on here because, again, as a water sign, they feel deeply. Water signs, the element water. Just think emotional when you think water. Think spiritual, because in a sense, again, emotions are just energy in motion. There's energy everywhere. Like, everything that is spiritual is simply just the energy that is literally within you and within everything else. You just normally, unless you're born with a heightened senses, of course, but some people are, and they put people on medicine for these types of things and all type of bullshit these days. Like, it really is low key, sad to see, but again, we aren't really taught spirituality like that growing up, especially in the Western society. But back to my point, Scorpio is very passionate as water signs, very spiritual, very emotional. They feel deeply. Scorpios are probably the most, emotional next to Cancer. And so they are definitely very passionate people. On the negative side, Scorpios can be jealous and envious as hell. Like, Scorpios will definitely, they can. Mars is associated with the ego, right? And so, just like Aries, Scorpios can naturally have like a grandiose ego, like a bigger view of themselves than the next person might. And there's not anything wrong with that, but their ego can cause them to be jealous and envious of others. Sometimes that's when it becomes a problem. You need to, reality check yourself. And they can also be very controlling because, they like things to go their way. If not, it kind of can make them insecure and can make them kind of anxious, which they're already prone to. So they can be very controlling and very secretive. That's kind of one of the ways they maintain control is by, omitting certain things and hiding information. And that's also, not a bad thing in a sense, because that's, again, how everyone protects their heart, right? That's how people protect their energy. They omit certain things from certain people until they know they can trust them with that. But Scorpios naturally are definitely more aware, definitely more conscious of that, and so they can come off very secretive in a sense. And yeah, next I'm gonna be doing Sag, but that was Scorpio energy. Like, subscribe, comment, and I'm out. Peace.